Good morning. Welcome back. I am being eaten by mosquitoes. I am Lao Shi Paul Nettles. This is the Levi Tai Chi School, and it is Monday, October 12th. Hopefully the last day I'll be on the front porch. The yard's still a little wet, but I think I can return to the yard. Maybe tomorrow get you a prettier view in the background. Not that you should be paying attention to it, right? And the other good news is that I should have a new phone in a couple days here, so the end of the fuzzy videos is nigh. Unfortunately, my phone is too complicated to be taken apart by an amateur, and of course is wildly expensive to have the parts replaced. It is unfortunately, in this case, cheaper for me to replace the whole phone than it is to have it repaired. And that's a personal pet peeve. We won't get into that. So I will say this, however. This morning started out as what we often gripe about Mondays for. My wife had an issue with her car, which threw her into a sort of a negative mood. She ended up being late to work because of it. We did get her to work, but it made her late, which is frustrating, of course. And being frustrated over the car, of course, then led to several other standalone minor incidents becoming more aggravating. And I think you know how that goes. You start off with something that goes wrong. You kick your foot on the bed. You stub your toe real hard on the bed. And then you spill coffee on yourself. And then you like I've been doing, slap a mosquito, and of course it's full of blood, so you end up with a blood smear across your clothing. This happened to my wife this morning. And it really frustrated her, which I completely understand. And it made me think about how I am when things like that happen. And there are mornings and days when strings of coincidence happen like that, when it just seems like everything is wrong, when you hit every stoplight, when someone almost drives into you in the middle of traffic, when you spill your coffee, when your radio station won't tune in because the power's out, because your power's out. All these things can happen randomly, coincidentally, but they seem to some days pile up. We as humans, and I won't get into like psychology of it, but we as humans seem to remember the negatives better than the positives. Negatives make a deeper and more lasting impact on us. So when those bad days start occurring, when you have a bad occurrence and another one happens and another one and another one, not only do we tend to dig into them deeper and experience them more vividly and so forth, we tend to remember them as well. So then we think, well, I'm having another bad day. I'm having a whole bad day. I've been awake for 3 hours, but I'm having a whole bad day. And it is very difficult to kick yourself back out of that spiral. You get started and you start thinking, well, it's gonna be a bad day. And you've pretty much set yourself up to look for everything bad that day and add it to the pile and relive it and experience it over and over and over again. And that compounds the feelings, and then of course you start finding more bad things. It's like saying red car in traffic, and all of a sudden you begin seeing red cars everywhere. They've always been there, you just called your mind's attention to it, and so then your mind is tracking that idea. When you say bad day, same thing happens. Your mind begins tracking those bad days, those bad moments, and remembering the bad days. And you end up with this long string of horrible events that you might not have noticed otherwise, but the fact that you called it to your attention, you made it a thing in your mind, and your mind said, oh, you want that categorized. Okay, no problem, let's go with that. Your mind doesn't know any better. It's doing what you told it to do. And let me state right now that I am fully aware that I am still the person who has those bad days and those bad spirals. I don't want to say all the time, but it does still happen. Just because you know what causes the problem does not immediately solve the problem. What does help the problem, what helps derail that, is mindfulness. And that's what we're doing right here. We're working on mindfulness. We're working on bringing our focus to a place and keeping it there. And that's tough. That takes work. That's why we're putting in the work every single day, 30, 35 minutes at a time, again and again and again. I have had some students who've been at this for a while start to complain is a strong word, but ask for new things, ask for something fresh, ask for something different. And it's hard to understand sometimes that if you've learned this and you enjoy it, sticking with it is what brings the benefits. It's not a matter of knowing 35 different Qi Gong forms. It's a matter of knowing one to a point of mastery, to really making it a part of your life that makes the changes that we need and are seeking from this and other practices. Knowing, Bruce Lee said many years ago, probably decades ago now, I would rather face the man who has practiced one punch 1,000,000 times than the man who's practiced 1,000,000 punches one time. Let that sink in for a second. Real understanding comes with repetition and practice. Our practice brings us mindfulness. Mindfulness kicks us out of those spirals of depression and anxiety and worry, and can give us the tools to help minimize those occurrences when they do happen. When you do happen to get into a spiral, it helps you kick back out of it again and not just ride it down to the absolute blackest depths. Is it foolproof? No. Does it take a long time? Yes. This is not a magic bullet. I've said that over and over again. This is not a magic bullet. It is the bullet, though. I should say it is a bullet. It is certainly a bullet. It is a way to fix the problem. It just takes practice and use and more practice and more use. And you get better and better at it. So, if you find yourself spiraling down on one of those bad days, you spill coffee on yourself and you kill a mosquito and you're covered in blood and your car wouldn't start and you get to work and you forgot your lunch, try your best. Think of your mindfulness, think of your practice, take some deep breaths, and see if you can't derail that. See if you can't tell yourself, you know, this is just coincidences. I'm making myself look for more of them. So I'm giving myself a self-fulfilling prophecy. It's going to be a bad day. Try to change it. Try to think differently. Try to focus differently. Focus on your breathing. Say instead, today's going to be an okay day. I don't want to say today's going to be a great day. Today's going to be a day, just like any other. And it will be over. They do end eventually. Every day does. All right, enough of the pop psychology. Let us work on some breathing and some focus. And some mosquito killing. First sound, deep breath. It's already working. Lifting the heavens. Owl gazes backwards. Breathe out. Breathe out. Stars fall to earth. Marry heavens and earth. in. Its own throne. And stamp the earth. what always surprised me about meditation, mindfulness, things like Tai Chi, and the people who seem to not stay in a good mood, but seem to bounce back very quickly from hardships and from blows that would cripple me 10 years ago, is that it always seemed impossible. It always seemed extraordinarily difficult, just wildly difficult. And I would wonder, how do they do it? How do they possibly do it? And it finally occurred to me, I'm not sure if it was repetition or if I let myself understand or whatever finally happened, I did understand finally that it's not something you come to immediately. It's not something you come to in a few months or a few years. It's something that you work on all the time, every day, and you do it the same way you eat an elephant, one bite at a time. We have this mindset that when we do something, we have to do it right the first time, 100%. We have to be perfect at it. We have to be great. We have to do the whole thing straight through and no problems. And we forget very easily, or we don't let ourselves realize that it never works that way. Everything takes time. Relationships, jobs, job skills, any skill, life skills, speaking, riding a bicycle, painting, drawing, doing Tai Chi, being mindful. It all takes daily effort. Not a lot. You don't need to spend 8 hours a day training. We're not Olympians. We're not trying to attain some lofty ideal. We're trying to find a simple working system, and that takes a little effort all the time, every day. Just a little. A few minutes here, a few minutes there. This takes half an hour, and you're through. If you want to continue through the day and work on your mindfulness, you certainly can. You don't have to. You will find, usually, that as you begin practicing, you want to practice more. As it gets more natural, it's easier to come back to it again and again and again. And I don't mean the form, I mean simple mindfulness, what we're practicing right now. You can do it in a few seconds without even getting up from your chair. And as you practice, you want to practice more. Your mind starts receiving the rewards, the calmness, the slower breath, the better feelings, the overall well-being, and says, hey, we should do that more often. We should make that a habit. Hey, we could do that right now, couldn't we? Let's do that. 2-3 seconds. Okay, that's good. Do it again in 3 or 4 hours. Hey, that felt pretty good. Let's do that again. Well, wait. 2-3 minutes, a few seconds, whatever it takes. And you keep going, and you keep going, and you keep going, and you keep going. Day after day, month after month, year after year, and it gets better and better and better. You just got to start, and starting is the hard part. Starting is the hard part. Trust me, I feel that pain. Starting is the hard part. Once you're past that, you're rolling. One step at a time, one day at a time. Thank you for sharing your one day at a time with me this morning. Your 1 30-minute block with me this morning. 35 minutes perhaps. Hopefully tomorrow we're back in the yard. Tomorrow is Tuesday, so we'll be back here at 8 a.m. Central Standard Time, or on YouTube shortly thereafter, or on Facebook all day, or YouTube, wherever you happen to catch it all day. I appreciate you joining me, as always. We will be back in the museum this Saturday. I think there's a cold front coming through, and there's no rain scheduled, so we should have no problems, no more foul weather for a little while. It's that season, but it should be nice for a little while longer. So back in the museum Saturday morning. Until then, we'll be here every morning that I can manage until the new phone arrives. 8:30 a.m. I'm sorry, 8 a.m. Central Standard Time until 8:30. And thank you. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for taking that first step, with or without me. Thank you for being along the ride with me. On the ride with me. Language skills leaving me. I hope you stay safe, and I hope you're well.